Yo.
Light, is that you? Have you returned? Oh, thank God. It's kind of like that. It's like, let the light return. We're moving into a new year. Everyone is like, oh my God, 2018, thank you. And like, I will let this year go. It's like ready to move on. 2018 was fucking hard. Like, so challenging, so destabilizing, so like humbling in so many vulnerable ways. And yet we're coming into 2019 and we're like, okay, thank God, we're return of the light. We'll sing for that. Yes, we're on to a new day, and right into the eclipse portal. Like right into a time of like the eclipse being conjuncted by the south node of the moon with 5 planets in Capricorn. So yes, we're coming into this new year and this new time. And in this month of January, I really feel like it's like this time of destabilizing and ultimately like allowing the deep foundations and those lasting hooks, those lasting like clinging parts of our self, of our ego, of the external powers that be that are holding on to these old systems that we're ready to let go here, that we have like been working on transforming. So this is a time where there's like a lot calling us to like rebuild and restructure and like actualize and do our work in the world and show up and be in like our empowerment. You know, Capricorn, all that energy is like, get in your power, you know, like, are you in your path of like mastery, and like, are you taking responsibility of your work in the world and how you show up for your relationships, for all of it. And yet we have Uranus and Mars and Aries like coming to square it all, like saying like, this is my desires, this is my desire for change, unearthing, destabilizing, shaking up time. So like foundations are crumbling, they're coming up, and we have a lot of energy coming in, and we have a lot of water, a lot of fire coming to like aspect all that Capricornian earth. And so to me, it's like, this can be very volatile, this can be very unsettling, and ultimately, this is the month where we let it go and we start to truly transform and shift it up. So let's talk about that. So not only do we have this new moon conjuncting the sun in Capricorn for this grand solar eclipse to bring us into the new year, but we also have 5 planets in Capricorn with the south node of the moon, who has just moved in to Capricorn as well. So this is like a huge initiation in Capricorn. I don't know if you guys remember this, but last year in January, we also had the like beginning of this grand Capricorn initiation. When January hit of 2018, we had at least 5, maybe even 7 planets, if I can remember correctly, all in Capricorn, with a full moon on the 1st of January, bringing us into that new year, opposing all of that. So the full moon was in Cancer, opposing all of that Capricornian energy. And it's been this huge push this year. It's been working us, like, for real, like really getting us into like, what is our relationship to our internal power? Like, what is our relationship to the powers that be, the external power systems, like the government and our authority, and like our relationships with our money and the systems that ultimately sustain and feed and nourish our life, you know? And so we have this year, 2019, after all of that has been worked on, and it's coming back around to give us another huge push with like Pluto conjuncting the sun conjuncting the moon, and then the moon conjuncting Saturn, and like Mercury and the south node like at the end cap. So like really like so many parts of our like deep personal egoic self is being asked to like activate this Capricornian aspect of ourself, this inner authority, this power to like restructure the systems and the patterns and the obligations, the responsibility and the duties that make up our life. And you know, we also have Saturn and Pluto and the south node there, so it gives this solar eclipse like this extra emphasis on like endings, on yes, it's a new beginning, yes, we're moving into a portal of a new year and we're like moving ahead, but this like January we have like this eclipse portal happening saying, okay, it is still time to like break down the structures, to like release and end these last bits of this Capricornian ceremony that we've been in. I mean, it's going to continue to work on us because Saturn has another year in it, and Pluto is still in it as well. And these planets with Saturn and Pluto there is really like this challenge. When Pluto and Saturn come, it's like external experiences, external reality. It's like the other coming in to challenge. Are you in your authority? Do you have authority over your life? Oh yeah? What structures are in place? Are they sustaining you? Like, what are you gonna do when that comes? What are you gonna do when like your family says this? What are you gonna do when your spouse or your love says this? This is ultimately a time of like deep mastery. Like, can we align our internal power and like our internal relationship with our own vibration and our center? You know, Saturn rules the Dantian, that like core strength of power that like sustains and feeds the rest of our body, you know? And so this is really a time of like internal authorship, internal power meets external experiences, external relationship dynamics, external like work, finances, again, broader structures and interpersonal relationships, because again we have that north node of the moon saying come to Cancer, like open to like deeper emotional intelligence, heal these wounds of like emotional insecurity and victimization and like power imbalances that like drain and deplete. You know, Cancer is like that mother, inner child, like the ocean, the deep subconscious worlds. It rules our home and our family, like it rules our security and what we're sustained and like nourished by. And Capricorn is that like container and that authority that like holds and builds the like empire in the container that supports that inner child, that supports that inner feminine and that inner creative to thrive. And yet we found ourselves like, has the container, has the authority inside and out, has the empire that we've created actually been in support of those emotional and deeply like, I mean, tribal needs? Like, this is core human desires, is to be like held and safe and secure and have a foundation and like to receive and to give in balance, you know? Like, how is our relationship with the water, with our mother? You know, this is all coming up, and so we're gonna see it in like the global stage in a big way, with all this like external authority being like radically initiated. Like, this is a magnifying lens on like misuse of power. Like, how are we in relationship with our planet? How are we in relationship with our body, with our emotions, with our needs and our desires? So this is a really deep time to like draw ourselves in. Capricorn is contracting, it's controlling, it's power, but it's also like contract, discern, like take on the responsibility, take the responsibility that is truly yours to take, and like make the steps. This is the year of like deep, long sustaining, hard work to create ultimate mastery over one's life, over one's work, over one's duties and obligations and responsibility in the world. Like, how you show up for your 7 generations before and 7 generations back. It's like, how do you show up in the world? And like, can you make the necessary like releases the necessary steps to be able to create that life. Ultimately create that life you want to live, that ultimately nourishes and sustains that like beautiful feminine nature and that beautiful like creative and inner child that so desires to be wild and so desires to like create and to be in harmony and to feel cared for, you know. So this is a time of like dealing with that feeling, those wounds around being cared for. Like, do you feel safe? Do you feel cared for? How do you respond when those feelings come up? Are you a victim? Are you shaming? Are you blaming? Are you pushing away? You know, and the Capricorn is asking, are you taking care of yourself? Are you showing up for your relationships and your responsibilities? Or are you taking on too much? Are you taking on the obligations of society and family and all these things and like hooking yourself in to these draining power dynamics? You know, Capricorn rules the devil in the tarot deck. And so what that says to me is like the devil can like dangle this carrot of like, nah, this is what you need. Soul's fulfillment is here. This is what we want you to do. This is what you have to do. It's like that shaming or that obligatory voice. But it's like up to us to be like able to like, can we rise above that? Can we allow these hooks to be like taken out if they're like hooked in a way that is draining us and that is taking from us, hooking us into a life that we actually are like, no, I don't sign up for that shit, you know? So that's why I said global stage, it's gonna happen. Like a lot is gonna be shifting in our governmental and our monetary, all of our systems and structures of authority. And, you know, it could look ugly because that beast is gonna swing and bite and claw and try to feed itself with every last moment as it dies, you know? And that's leading us into this next really big part of the Capricorn initiation, I feel like, and that Cancer, that call to heal our emotional intelligence and our emotional security and our home and our tribe and our like water, I feel like, you know. But our emotions, our emotional intelligence is needing to be upgraded. And like how we do that is we excavate the Capricorn part of our misuse of power, of our what have we signed up for, of our like who are we giving our power to? Are we in touch with our own vibration and our own center? Uranus and Mars coming in Aries to like square it all is going to be really this like crazy, electrifying, like high octave energy coming through to like radically pierce through it. Like Uranus rules the Tower card in Tarot, and so the Tower is like all that we've created. It's the fortress that we've created. It's all the systems, the structures, the patterns. It's rooted down and it's been built upon, and yet Uranus comes in to strike it and like burn it and crack the foundations and like get new energy into it, to shake it up. It's like destabilizing, it's rebellious, it's illuminating, it's like glorious in its like super high octave Kundalini awakening, aha, epiphany moments kind of experience. And yet with Mars there, and also just Uranus in general, can be so volatile. It can be so like unearthing and shaking up that our egos, especially like when they're like the powerful egos, are like desperately trying to cling, desperately trying to like hold on for dear life of these patterns. So it's like see the places that we're stuck and like, oh my God, if these places of trauma or sudden like shifts and radical disruptions and breaking down is happening, that brings up tremendous fear, tremendous like paranoia or like clinging and holding on to and just fighting, just reacting. And so it's like, whoa, this is an extra time of like allow that that surge of like the Mars that cuts through the shit is like ready to move and like release and go and do, actualize the change. But it's like, are we doing this in a way that's like shaming and blaming and fighting and slashing and burning and just like, rah? Or are we like clinging and we're overwhelmed with fear? You know, it's like, this is a time to really like allow that energy, that strong, powerful surge of Mars, Eros, of desire and passion and drive, and also Uranus of like high octave, like to come through and like liberate, because ultimately we're here to liberate, but sometimes that's not comfortable. And with so many planets in Capricorn, the north node of the moon in Cancer, like ruling these deep parts of how we want to be nourished and cared for and feel safe. Like, this is not a safe feeling transit, you know, this is not a safe feeling time. And so do your best to like embrace that feeling of like instability and uncomfortability, to see like, what does it bring up in you? Like, use that energy to like channel it to the highest, because if you're in reactionary mode, you will end up clinging to the systems that are breaking down. If you're in that reactionary mode, you will cling to your patterns and your structures in your life that are letting go. They will be broken down. Like Saturn and Pluto make sure of it. It's like they will challenge the fuck out of you until you are like, okay, take it. It's burnt out of me. Even the desire to have it has like been alchemized in this cauldron of like challenge and loss and like egoic shredding, you know? So it's like, if you feel a little unstable, I would be surprised if you don't, you know? So just like really, again, allow that instability to like propel you into this new beginning, because eclipse season, it's about entering us into a portal that shifts and that like ultimately creates like radical like forks in the road, parallel pathways, alternate dimensions of your life that you can like pop into when we make these radical shifts and changes, you know? So like, lift up those hands if you feel yourself clinging on, and let go, and take yourself and breathe yourself, breathe your reaction, breathe that tendency to control or to like try to extend your energy to like manipulate the surroundings to make yourself feel safe. You know, there's a lot of, you know, Jupiter is in Sagittarius. It's like really this energy of trying to open us to our true potential and purpose, to align us with that fire, to align us with our spiritual call. Neptune and Pisces, like ultimate, like liberate our connection to spirit. Let go of the things that are addicted and like disillusioning us, and like creating this false sense of connection. You know, Venus is still in Scorpio. Thank God she's out of retrograde. Thank God she's out of the shadow period. I can finally like come up and make videos, because I was like so deep in the fucking underworld and like the letting go of so many like deep things and desires, and letting that shit be burned, alchemized. Like, this is all touching like really deep, powerful, vulnerable, extremely vulnerable places inside of us. And so this is truly a time of like being so graceful with ourselves. Like, don't go into those patterns of shame. Don't go into that like negative, fearful self-talk, and instead really be in the ceremony of like, what's gonna happen is gonna happen, and can I open to the highest octave of it? Like, can I let go of that grip of control, of that grip of fear, and allow that center and that like deep rhythm of your own being like propel you and guide you in this crazy shifting time? Because this is a time where all external influences will be challenging your prayer, challenging your intention, challenging your ability to maintain your vibration, to wrap you into like whatever, other worlds, other stories. Like, be the master, your own author. Like, that's what this Capricorn initiation is all about, I think, is like unhook from the stories and the narratives that are fucking us up, and like haul ourselves in to like a deep, like radical initiation of our own authorship and our own like creative essence. So with that, with all of that, blessings on this new year. It's still a new year, even though we have to like feel this instability and feel this like precipice of the Fool, like standing on the edge of the cliff, ready to leap up. We know it's going to be vast what we jump into and what we open to. But right now that ledge is like, somehow we're feeling the like crackling like edges start to fall off those little pebbles. They like fall underneath us and they're falling all the way down, and fuck, does that mean we're gonna fall? And it's like, okay, like it's that scary precipice that we're in. So let's just all be graceful with one another, of like however you react to that precipice, and however your loves and your friends and the government and the world and all of it reacts, and just ultimately bring yourself back in to remembering your purpose, to remembering your own prayer. It's like a time to weave that prayer bundle, weave it back together and let it be filled, you know. And even if it seems like the threads are like tearing away at the seams, like just hold to that prayer that is the core of who you are and what you've come here for.
It's your love.